Hi, this is Sherry Veronica, and I started a conversation with someone in my chat last night around 11ish, and it has continued. And what time is it now? 10 o'clock a.m. So I think some people are perturbed by things they see going on in their nation and wherever part of the world they're living. But I see it all the time. Many times I have gone off in a small town that resembles an island town. If you've been to the islands, you see that they all look alike. They all have the same layout. The street names are even sometimes the same. The same person who did the street or who was credited for that particular layout is all over the place. Even in Miami, you see names that you would see in Barbados, for example. So it's the same thing all over. So when you hear, or I was talking to this guy last night about the urban planning policy that is going on in the world, I see it all the time. In New York City, there are streets now that you cannot drive down on. They are putting just chairs and tables in the middle of the streets, and you sit there. You don't have to worry about a yellow cab careening around the corner hitting you. Nothing like that. It's all cordoned off, and you have shops. In Atlanta, they're doing the same thing. It's a corridor, like a quadrant, but a corridor where they are tying communities together. And how do they help you? It helps you because they're saying that when it's done, you may not even need a vehicle. You may not need to have a car. So you can just hop on that train or trolley, nothing underground or subway. It's just a train above ground or a trolley. And there are shops, there are restaurants, there are places you can gamble, there are places you can walk, there are places you can buy volleyball courts, everything you can find within that quadrant. So when I spent all this time last night talking about this particular rollout of these cities, it's an urban planning policy that is creating cities to tie people together. If you've seen it long enough, you will realize that whoever is controlling the earth they want to keep people enslaved. It's like they try to keep you in a box. And with black people, for example, when you find that they stare you to a particular city or a particular place, and they say, oh, you can have a big house, because that's what black people like, big homes. So you can have a big house, 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage, and you can have a little land in the back seas. You have like 1/3 of an acre, 0.3 of an acre, and you can get that for $200,000. That's really good price. No, it's not really a good price. It's not really a good price, because when you are steered to these dumping grounds and these industrial wastelands, you are being sent there to filter. You are being used. Your lungs are being used as a filter, because that place has its own toxicity. Okay? That place is no place for even a dog to live. But when they flatten it and they roll over it with their bulldozers and they plant trees and whatever, it looks good. It looks good. You have your picket fence. Oh, black people, black kids, you have your picket fence, and you have your little association, and you feel as though you've come, you've arrived. You feel as though you've arrived. Okay, you've come ashore. And what you're doing is you are sucking up the toxic energy in that particular place for 50 years, 75 years. And then after that time has elapsed, they come back. The white people come back, and they will buy you out, or by that time, within 75 years of a concentrated certain set of people being somewhere, it becomes slummish. Let's not, we don't have to use the romance. Yes. It becomes kind of sort of that way. And what happens is it's called gentrification or those kind of fancy words, but the white people come back after about 75 years. Their plan long term. It's not like year to year or month to month. Their plan long term. So within 75 years of you being steered in an area, and your lungs are used to filter and clean up that particular place. And sometimes people go to the doctor and they have lung disease, and the doctor may say, well, how long have you been smoking? And you say, I've never smoked. That's what you were used for. That's what your lungs were used for when you got that really nice home for cheap, and your 2-car garage and 4 bedrooms. That's what you were used for. So when they come back after 75 years, they come back and they do their studies. They dig up. You see them digging up the roads, and they're doing all the atmospheric studies to make sure, oh yeah, it's clean up. Then white people can come in and build their multi-million-dollar homes. But at first they use black people to filter off all the toxicity of the dumps and the industrial wasteland or whatever else they have dumped in that area. That is what happens. This is my opinion. Okay, just get that out there. Okay, so when I talk to the person in Barbados and he says that he can see it happening in Barbados, he can see the World Economic Forum, that's what it's called, the WEF. He can see it all over Barbados, and he's saying that it's a form of slavery. He is correct. He did get that part correct, but he's quite like emotional about it, and he thinks that something's going on that needs to be stopped. But there's no stopping. We don't own this place. We live here, but we don't own it. We do not own the earth. And sometimes you say to yourself, well, sometimes I say to myself, should I even talk? Should I just like dig a hole and just like go underground, not even in the woods, but underground, and just live? Because there's talking and discussion. People say, oh, you have to communicate, you have to speak out. Does it really work? I don't think it does, because my main thought is this is hell, and people on the earth are living dead. You're just living dead. Every step you take, you're heading to death. So it's like also like the slave boats, where the slaves on the top tier felt that they were in a better position, because when they piss and when they shit it ran down on the others, and they felt that, oh yeah, I'm in the better position. They didn't realize that they're all in the same boat. All of us who are here, we're in the same boat, and we are not really, this fight is not against people like you and me and people that we see day in and day out. The war is being waged by people you don't even see, and with powers you don't even know. And when you see billions and billions and billions of free money, where is it coming from? No one knows. Oh, people are giving away, rich people are giving money to this particular project. It's a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars, to do what they're doing in certain urban cities. Who's to say where the money is coming from, and who's to fight what the architects of the earth want to do? Who's to fight it? But like I said before, do you just sit around and do nothing? That doesn't seem right. Do you talk and shout and stomp your feet? That doesn't seem right. No matter how activistic you want to be, no matter how you want to be a hero of sorts, no matter how you want your voice to be heard and you seek justice, you want justice, there is something that has a thumb on all of us. There is something that exists in this world that has its thumb on all of us. So whether they are retrofitted urban cities and planning it out, and they all look alike, when you travel, you realize that these cities look alike. You could go to a place, you could travel for like days and days and days and get off in a small little town that reminds you of Spikestown. It's like, am I where I think I am, or where am I? It looks just like Spikestown. So Wherever you go, you can see the blueprint. You can see the blueprint, and wherever you go and whatever you do, after a while, you realize you're not in control. You're not in control. So what little can you do is just take note. Just take note. You are on the earth. Check. It is hell. Check. You are living and walking dead. Check. Isha Veronica.